Hey, we're on Spreaker now. Hey, welcome to the Caffeinated Word.
We're on Spreaker?
Yep.
Ooh.
We're live. What time are we supposed to be on? 11? We're only an hour and 9 minutes off.
Dude, I mean, it's 11 o'clock somewhere. It's
Iowa.
just not here. Is it?
Yeah, Midwest.
I'm waiting on technology here on this end for YouTube. It's
Hey, welcome one and all. And remember that spring forward, you
Ooh, yeah. So
move the clocks forward for tomorrow.
I just learned of that this morning thanks to my woman and your post, and we're finally getting live on YouTube.
Yeah, I did post about
What's
that.
up, people?
Hey,
You're listening to the Caffeinated Word, and if you're not, you're missing out.
well, if you're not, then you won't hear this.
You know what? You just wrecked my party.
Yeah. Hey,
A
welcome.
little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Gary's half dead today. You'll have to excuse him.
Am I?
He's
I think I'm pretty good for just having. I just had surgery on
Say what?
Wednesday.
Oh yeah, this dude just fresh out of surgery.
No big deal.
What, 3 days ago?
Wednesday morning. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I forgot to tell people like my dad about it. I told him Wednesday. No, I told him Tuesday. Sorry, Tuesday I told him.
oh, that's great. Oh, I should probably get us on the Facebook so people can actually find us. You know, that might be good.
Caffeinated Word. We did. Did we do was it last week?
Yeah.
2 weeks in a row. Wow. I don't know.
It's great.
Yeah, share. We encourage you to share our podcast with your friends.
Yeah.
Or the video and it's actually not a podcast. It's a video.
It's a video podcast.
Video
we got both
podcast.
audio only.
Yep.
And we got you can watch us. So from one of our viewers, I learned that they bring it up on YouTube, you know, but they don't really even watch us. He's like, I just gotta.
Who's that?
The camp director.
Thanks, Tom.
He doesn't really watch us too much.
Tom,
a little
right?
bit. Oh yeah,
Hey,
it's Tom.
Thanks, Tom.
Hey, Tom is excited to be able to meet you at some
And
point.
Tom, we talk a lot about your camp, so
We do. We
you
talk
know.
about
But hey,
it.
don't watch us. That's fine.
It's fine, you know.
No.
No big deal. It's
No.
cool.
Not really.
I mean, what? You said last week, said again this week. We just got faces for radio.
That's right.
You're better off watching us on Spreaker.
Listening,
I
not
know.
watching. Oh,
It's a better view when you don't see us. You can, but yeah, the Caffeinated Word. We're several episodes in now, there, friend.
yeah, we are.
This is episode 9. We are starting to gain a little bit of traction.
I don't even know
Not a lot.
what we even talk about. To tell you the truth, and if it's even helpful.
I think it is. You know, and I only say that because I'm biased.
Yeah.
So, well, I mean, this is good if you're watching and you're new to the podcast. The podcast is good if you like to hear about Jesus.
Yeah.
If you like to hear about the Bible,
Ministry.
or if you like to hear about ministry.
Yeah.
And you know, I mean, I think we're decently transparent, and you know you can learn that we're two knuckleheads, both in ministry positions. We originally did ministry together, but that's where I really got my start, and you know, as far as maybe you could say, you know, an official position, more than just like, you know, helping out somewhere.
You started out as an intern, and you
never even finished it.
and you became a.
I started an internship and never finished it.
Oh, you never finished it.
So I was in a traditional undergrad when I started
Yeah.
my internship, and I switched over to adult undergrad or something like that. And their side, which is still through the same school, LBC, did not require an internship. So I never had to finish my internship.
So do you have a degree?
Now,
So, is a degree required to be in ministry? That's a good question.
we can talk about that.
Is a degree required to be a pastor, to be in full-time ministry?
My answer to that is, if so, Jesus would have failed miserably.
Mm-hmm.
As would John the Baptist. As would Peter.
Matthew.
Matthew. He was a tax collector, right? Yeah.
Yep.
He was maybe the one with the most education. Maybe.
Who?
Matthew? Being a tax collector? I don't know. Out of all the group, I'm trying to think. No. Yeah, I don't know.
Paul was definitely the one with the most education as an apostle. He wasn't part of the 12.
Right.
The original 12, but he had the most education.
And Luke, he was a doctor.
But he wasn't was he an apostle? Luke wasn't an apostle.
I can't say I've heard the term Apostle Luke.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know. Anyways, so the original guys did not have, most of them did not have formal training.
So I'll say this before we get too into it. Education's good, having the knowledge, studying.
Definitely
but there's
good.
a difference between studying, continue to study. Paul tells Timothy, study to show yourself approved. There's a difference between studying and knowing the word than
Right.
having a piece of paper. And so what has happened, I see in the church, the traditional organized church in America, is that's kind of where they start weeding people out, degrees. So
Yeah.
they want, and I understand they want people to have knowledge, but again, there's a difference between having a piece of paper and being gifted.
Right.
And so I don't have a degree. I have a lot of education.
We
but
are
don't have the
much in the same.
Yeah.
We started it.
Yeah, and I was very close, but I had to drop out because I had a little bit of a drinking problem.
A little bit.
So I had to drop out.
Friend of yours.
Yeah, no, it was me. So do people need to have a piece of paper to be in ministry? In a lot of churches, you can't even get an interview with them unless you have a 4-year degree or
Oh yeah.
a master's degree, an MDiv,
Yeah.
master's in divinity. So,
Yeah.
but it's not. And I've had people say, well, in today's world, all businesses think if you're a business owner, blah blah blah. Well, because of liability, but the church, that's the problem, is we're not a business.
Yeah.
We can take business principles, but we need to act like the church and allow people to have their gifts, use their gifts. I have never really had a church ask me, what are your spiritual gifts? Which is sad.
I've never been asked that either.
Yeah. And to me,
Yeah.
that's a first question I would ask.
Yeah.
What is your spiritual gifts?
I had applied to a church before I ended up at camp. I talked with Pastor Man. We talked in person before I turned in my resume. And after talking to him, I felt really good about it. Because he's like, oh yeah, definitely put in a resume. He was all about it. He was like, yeah, then make sure you get that into us so it gets out to the search team. He's like, they'll look over it and then we'll be in contact with you.
Mm-hmm.
Sent it out to them. Took a little bit, but they looked over it. I messaged him, hey, how's things going? Yep, don't worry, we're reviewing it. We're setting up a date. All right. We had a conference call, and so I was talking with the whole search committee at one time. And they all went, and they're like, all right. So the pastor, he goes, everyone, we can ask our questions one at a time, just go around the circle. And after that, if there's any more questions, and you can ask them then. So everyone's asking me questions. I feel like I'm nailing them. I shouldn't say nailing them. But, I for once in a job interview, because really that's part of what it is, I felt confident in my answers. I remember my first job interview, real job interview at Wendy's. I'm just a little kid. I don't know. Have you ever made a mistake? And if you did, or I don't think it was, have you ever made one? Or,
what's your weaknesses?
What was a big mistake you made? How did you fix it? And I'm like, trying to work at Wendy's, and I'm like 15. I'm like, I don't know, dude. I was so intimidated then, but I'm talking to the church. I feel really good about it. I feel like, I don't know if I'm giving them the answers they want, but I'm giving them answers that I feel comfortable giving, and they all felt pretty comfortable with it afterwards. And then they're like, all right, we'll be back in touch with you. We went to their church for a Sunday morning, because really, when it comes to ministry, it has to be a good fit both ways. Mm-hmm. You need to interview them just as much as they need to interview you. I like a group that I meet with, one of the guys in there, I don't remember who, but they were like, when you apply to a church, the interview process really just needs to be a confirmation of your calling, maybe in general, but also to that church.
Right.
There needs to be confirmation both ways, and if it doesn't work out both ways, then it's not going to work out, even if you try and force it. But, I ended up getting an email from them. Hey, thanks for the chat. We don't feel you're the guy for the job. And I'm like, I have a feeling there's something in there that they were really wanting someone with a degree. I kind of got that feel from them, because that was one of the questions that I got from them. They're like, so, you don't have a degree? Nope. I started. I'd like to finish. Maybe someday when the money comes in. They're like, oh, okay. I think that was one of the points that they like. So, I don't know. It's tough. When you review church, what do you call the postings, listings? When they're hiring, 90%, 80%, some sort of degree.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's bad. I mean, I don't know.
And we're not saying education isn't important.
Oh, definitely not.
The part of the problem in ministry is you're going for a 4-year, then a lot of them want a master's in divinity.
Yeah.
So you're going usually in debt.
Another 2 years at least,
and
normally, I think.
And you're not ever going to make enough money to really pay much of that off. So it's a struggle.
Yeah.
For people that are going into ministry.
Yeah.
And we should be educated. We should know what we're talking about. But in the spiritual world, in church, we're working in the spiritual world, and we should be working for Christ. It's more important to have those giftings from the Holy Spirit, those giftings that God gives us.
Yeah. Well, we've both listened to messages. I'm sure you've listened to some, and I've listened to some. And I think there's one in particular that wasn't too long ago. I'm not going to name the church, but we went to a service together. And I think the dude had the knowledge. He just couldn't convey it. Like, he was all over the place. It was very difficult to follow. He started off, I think, the night with trying to say, like, there's one point to the message. And I think we probably tracked 7 throughout it. I shouldn't say tracked, because by the end it was just like, it was something. I don't know,
And there's people that are gifted, that have education for sure. And there's people that are gifted that don't have the degrees. And, you can usually pick up pretty quick, well, that person is truly gifted in preaching and teaching, and this person not, another person maybe not so much. So just because you have the piece of paper, and I think a lot of people fail in ministry or quit in ministry because they think it's easier than it is. I always tell people,
all you have to do is stand up for 40 minutes on a Sunday. That's it.
You and a couple other people give me a hard time sometimes because I'm so honest about ministry. That if you can do anything else, I'm going to close this door. Your son is loud.
Yeah, he's making a commotion.
If you can do anything other than ministry, then do it. You gotta know for sure, for certain, that you're called. And that calling, you're not going to be discouraged. I mean, you can get discouraged by others, but you're not going to just quit because others are like, "Oh, I don't think God called you."
Well, you've been discouraged many times by many people, and here you still are because you're like, I got nothing else to do. Like this is what I live for.
Yeah.
I know this is what's put upon my life, and no one knows your calling really better than you.
It's between you and God. Other people will usually give you the nod that you're in the right direction, confirm it, but it's ultimately between you and God. So you have the education part. Then, in a lot of churches, especially the more biblical, conservative, fundamental, they kind of, if you sin ever in ministry, or if you sin ever in life, then you're automatically always disqualified.
Right.
And, we have this idea that you have to be perfect. Now, should we show a good example? Yes. Should we sin less? Yes. But none of us are perfect.
Yeah.
And we tend to disqualify good men from ministry and women, but men in ministry because of sin issues in the past.
Yeah.
But have you worked on those sin issues? Have you, taken time off? Have you done the things that you need to do?
Right.
And, God can use us despite ourselves many times. And God wants to use us.
Yeah.
I've heard it all because I have the sin issues, I have the lack of education issue, and I have the illness issue that I'm sick a lot. And,
just had surgery.
But if God has called you, God has called you.
Yeah.
We tend to make excuses. Oh, I can't serve you, Lord, because of this. I can't serve you, Lord, because of that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And we make all these excuses. If God has called us, God has called us.
Yeah.
And life gets messy. I was thinking about this show yesterday, the last couple of days, and I was thinking, as you were saying, we need to be transparent. And I've gone through life. In early September, I went through some stuff with I'm going to be divorced twice, which I'm having a really hard time with. And so I should be disqualified from ministry. Now, mind you, I've offered my resignation twice here.
They won't let him go.
And didn't think I qualified because of that. But I was in an abusive situation where I was being abused.
Yeah.
And it's a crazy thing. And I still have people give me a hard time. Posting stuff on our Facebook page at church and different things. And I'm being vague here, but I'm saying enough to say that, life is life. And a lot of times we think it's black and white and it has to be clean.
Right.
And most times, life is messy.
Yeah.
And if God has called us, we need to keep on that calling. Now, I'm not saying that you're always qualified. Now, if I was having an affair and I was beating my wife, that would be bad mojo.
Right.
But I've actually had people tell me because of being the victim, and I'm not playing the victim, it's just the facts.
Right.
Being the victim that I should resign or I should this and that. And it's like, well, not so much.
Yeah. It's, I think frequent, it can be circumstantial, and you gotta look at what's all laid out before you make any assumptions, jump to any conclusions, whatever it is. And in the ministry part, like we've both at least started schooling. We have some education underneath our belts. You probably more than I, but neither one of us have a piece of paper to show for it. But what you're seeing nowadays is these fellas like yourself. You have years of experience, and churches will choose someone with no experience, straight out of school with a degree. Their only experience was a 3-month internship somewhere. Where in my internship requirements, I think I was required to maybe speak once in that, but it was like up to the church what the internship looked like. So if you interned at a church and you were just mainly the coffee runner for the Monday morning prayer breakfast, the coffee runner for the Tuesday morning staff meeting, and you were the guy that turned the air conditioning down on Sunday mornings, because that's what the church laid out for you. You have no ministry experience other than being a maintenance man and a barista.
And that experience of especially preaching, so I believe preaching is a gift, preaching and teaching, but I also believe that you can learn and you can get better, especially at public speaking.
Oh, definitely.
And I say this not as giving Cody a hard time. It should be an encouragement. He's a better speaker today than he was when I first met you.
Yeah.
And that's because of experience.
And you should have heard me in the beginning.
And you have to have experience, and it's hard. Just like any job, you go for a job, and we want someone with more experience. Well, give me experience so I can have more experience.
Yeah.
And it's
everyone has what they call a barrier to entry, and and financial terms, normally they refer to that as a certain number, like you need at least 100,000 to be able to make money. You need money to make money, but the barrier to entry is 100,000. In ministry is 4 years of service. In the business world, they want to see that you are a manager someplace for 8 years, but to be a manager, you need 4 years experience in the field. It's like, and it's all these barrier to entries, and not just the church world, but everywhere. But it's like you need experience so that you can have a job, but you need a job so you can get experience, and no one wants to take on someone that doesn't know anything.
And if God wants you to be in ministry, you're going to be in ministry, but you got to be open to go anywhere. Yeah. And that's one thing I've noticed, especially here in Pennsylvania. Guys will, and gals, but guys will go want to be a pastor, but they don't want to leave the area. Right. And that's new for me. I've never seen that. I remember
you telling me that early on.
Yeah, and the thing is you got to be willing to go anywhere. Yeah. And just because you're called to ministry doesn't mean you're going to be next door.
You don't always get to pick.
Town. And, God will put you where he needs to put you. And I believe that all of our experience is always a training ground. Now, I don't always see that when I'm going through tough situations. Yeah. But, looking back at where I've lived in my life and what I've been through, God's been preparing me all my life for this specific ministry. Yeah. Now, is this the church and the ministry that I'll always... What's that?
I have no idea.
The church is falling down, I think.
Anyway. We might make it to the end.
What was I saying?
I don't know. That completely threw my track.
The things I've went through in my life has prepared me for this. And if God has called us, and then the church has to be willing to take a chance. Right. And take a chance on somebody that God has called. And it's not always easy, and it's sometimes, you're growing together painfully, but the Lord knows where you need to be. I don't think there's mistakes. I think, even if someone gets put in a bad church, I think it's a training ground. I don't think it's like, oh, God made a mistake or I made a mistake. Well, maybe God's trying to get you to learn something from this situation.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a church that I know of in Hanover, and I don't know the exact length of time, but I think it was at least 2 years they were looking for a pastor. But what was interesting in that, and 2 years isn't nothing crazy, but they were out a lead pastor. They had the youth pastor, they had a worship pastor, and between those two and the elders, they had Sunday services taken care of pretty well. No problem there. And the great thing, at least in that, is they were like, we're looking, but it's not like we're pleading. And their idea behind it is, they don't want to be desperate for a pastor. They want someone that's the right fit for the church. Right. They weren't put in a position like either we get a pastor or we're done. Yeah. They're like, we're looking, but if we don't get one next month, it's good. If we don't get one in 6 months, we're not worried about it. We're looking for the right guy That's we're waiting on the Lord to call someone to us, and we're not going to settle for anything less, and we don't need to settle for anything less. Right. And I was like, wow, like to me, when I heard that, I was just like, well, that's totally backwards, like from normal everyday thinking. It's like we need to get someone in here now, like we're good for 6 weeks, and after that, I don't know, and it's like, in any other marketplace, job place, you're looking for someone quick that fits the job, and it's like, oh, their resume looks good, yeah, hire them, but I think it's figuring out what their experience is, and making sure that they're a good fit for the job, because you can have a lot of experience and not be fit for the job. You can have a little bit of experience and still not be fit for the job, and it can go the other way,
right.
And it can work to either side. I don't know. It's apparently worked for us a little bit, somehow, because you got yourself a senior pastor position here in lovely Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Scranton.
213 South Main Ave. Send your donations to Gary. Peaches. But and somehow, for some reason, Tom at Stony Point Camp decided to take a chance on me. But I think his son just bragged on me more than he probably should have, and made me sound really good. And I got up there, and they're like, "Boy, what did we land ourselves with?"
Joel, you done with cookies? They still working?
Oh man!
Yeah. Bridget's still down there?
So
Where's
here at United Baptist Church,
making
Scranton,
Welsh cookies.
they are having the Welsh cookie bake today.
Yeah.
And I asked the lady down there, I said, how many cookies are you shooting for? She was like, normally 400. And she paused a little bit, and I'm like, 400 is a lot of cookies. Dozen. Mm-hmm. Not 400 cookies. I mean, like, put it in perspective. You buy one of those pre-made log things that you just slice them up, you get like 20 cookies out of it, max, You put them on a cookie sheet, 20 cookies, that's it, These people are doing not 20 cookies, not 400 cookies, which is a decent bit, but 400 dozen. I'm like, quick math, that's a lot.
This is quick math. That's like, thank you, Professor Obvious.
Over 4,000 cookies these people are doing. They're doing it in the basement. This place has. I mean, we talked about this I think a couple times before. I finally just ventured up to your fifth floor.
Did you go up there?
Yeah, right after the bathroom. I ventured up. I'm like, oh, this is cool. And then there's a ladder to a not usable floor.
Yeah.
With a ladder to another not usable floor. I'm like, so I'm on the 5th level of your church. Looking up, I climbed up the ladder and then looked up more. I'm like, this is ridiculous. So like, you have an attic space somewhere on the 7th floor. That's all I know. But so somewhere down below us, they are just doing these things in an oven. No, they got griddles set up. Like, dude, I don't know how you aren't tripping breakers, because they have 4 griddles on one table. 1 table, 4 griddles. And they have more than 1 table. They got like 4 tables down there. I'm like, dude.
Welsh cookies, they're delicious. Have you had them?
I haven't. I don't think so.
Oh, man.
I don't think so. I'm maybe someone gave me one last year or something, but yeah, I don't know that I've. I mean, I'm just going to say no, and then maybe someone will give me one anyways. So, But yeah, 400 dozen cookies. You want some cookies? I don't know. Hit this guy up or something.
$5 a dozen.
$5 a dozen?
Yep, they're good.
400 dozen. $5 a dozen. That's pretty alright.
It's
that's one of your fundraising events, isn't it?
One of our main fundraisers.
Yeah. And they've been doing this for quite some time, haven't they?
We do it 4 times a year. And
4 times a year.
Yep.
4 times
3
at
or 4
400 dozen.
Yep.
That's a lot of cookies.
Sometimes it's not as much, but lately it's
you can tell I'm excited. I just suddenly gained a new octave level or something.
They just said that they're coming to a point where they have to cut it off at 500 dozen. Now we're getting close to the 500 dozen mark. So
goodness, we can't do any more cookies.
Yeah, well, it's great because my son and
they aren't doing all these in one day, are they?
Yesterday and today.
Yes, 2 days.
Yeah.
400 dozen.
Yeah.
And your son's helping out?
My son...
That's good.
Well, he was in here, so I don't know what he's doing.
He was in here for like a minute. I think that's what that noise was.
Yeah.
That was causing the walls to fall.
Yeah.
But, hey, what
anyway,
time are we at?
We're out of time.
Are we? I don't even know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
we're just doing one half today.
That's what you're up for?
Yeah.
All right.
And then...
So, there's not going to be the second part today.
This was good, talking about ministry.
It was good. And if you're new to the podcast, thanks for watching. It's been good. And make sure to share it. And I was doing giveaways in the beginning, and maybe next week we'll get back into one.
Nice. All right.
So check us out. We'll see you in the next one.
What? Okay. Hot dogs.
Ooh. Hot Doges. Dude, that was like 30 minutes on the mark.
I know.
That was good.
Hot dogs.
Yeah, these hot dogs are sweeter sauce.
Did Joel go back now? How you guys almost done?
Oh, we're almost done rolling. We only have a little bit left to roll.
How you feeling? Really worn out.
I'm tired.
No down.
No, I have to go down and get ready. No.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you because I'm not super sure.
Mm.
We have to go wipe your hands. Are you breaking now?
We are doing a second half.
Are you done?
Yeah. Yep, we just finished up. So I'll just what?
I'm so hot, I'm working. So he wants me to organize that scary room.
Oh yeah.
But to organize that scary room, I need places to put that stuff, so I'm organizing those 3 closets.
One of them they want to turn into the food pantry.
I'm already doing that. I'm organized. That's the one I'm working on. I'm organizing it now.
Cool.
It's fruits. Veggies. Joel's like, what are you doing? Okay, I'll be back. I need to wipe his hands.
So anyway, I'm telling you that I'm just trying to protect her too, because she's going to get herself in trouble if she keeps her hands off. And so it's protecting her. She doesn't see that. It's protecting her also.
If he'll stay with you for a little, do you want to hold him a little bit?
Yeah, I'll go to the bathroom first.
Did Joel come in here?
Just for a moment.
Oh. Was that wood there? Was that... I guess it was.
What would?
That stick of wood over there.
That?
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. I don't know if it was here last week, but
I wasn't here last week.
Cody,
what's up, brother man?
how are you now?
Oh, you know.
Oh, I do know.
Hey, how you doing there, buds?
Oh, my legs hurt like a son of a gun there, buds. Wanna come down, make some cookies? Just kidding, no, you don't. I wouldn't. You get trapped.
I'm not getting trapped, dude. I'm not doing it. Dude, you gonna introduce your old man, or you just gonna leave her out there?
Oh, here. This is Coldster. This is Cora.
What's happening?
Cody.
You wanna
This
tell
is
me
Willow.
your old man's name?
Oh, this is Bridget.
Bridget. All right, there we go. We're
This
sorry,
is Willow
sorry,
and
Bridget.
Walker.
Willow, Walker. Walker, Willow.
You actually put up with this guy?
Yeah, I do.
He worked the summer with me, and it was an interesting summer.
You loved it, Cody.
Dude, it was good. It was real good. Long days, late nights, early mornings, a whole lot of loud music.
Whole other
That-
Sounds great.
Christian rap.
Then a little bit of work. Not a lot of work. It was terrible. Dude looked like he was dead at the end of the days. Of course, it was like 100-some degrees.
Oh yeah, it was terrible.
It was awful.
Oh my god.
Remember that one time it started pouring down rain, and we were doing that one job. It was like that big old property.
Big old property.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah, and you like,
Dude,
you're
it
like,
was-
go, 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 go.
Like it was terrible. We were so wet. Like there was not a dry spot on us. It was bad.
It was like we were in the shower.
Oh yeah, it was awesome. It was
Are you guys on
I forgot
break?
about that.
Well, they're only-
We're are we still recording?
Yeah. Yeah.
Spreaker. Thanks for joining.
See
Bye.
ya.